Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? We always give like one minute lag time for late comers, but we got a lot of things to go over, so right after that we'll get started. All right, there we are on the 1 minute mark. So welcome back to the live stream. I'd like to really go over some important charts today because I think they're going to drive the market. We nailed it yesterday, so maybe we can do it 2 days in a row. But the market has a way of humbling you, so don't think just because we nailed it yesterday, we'll always get it right, but that's what we're here to do. Anyhow, what I'd like for you guys to do is let me know in the chat what stocks you'd like for me to go over. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the SPY to begin with. And what I have right now for you is I got the 24-hour chart right here, okay? And the reason I have that on is because we had a pretty big move overnight in the pre-market. If you look here at the daily, for your daily, here's our daily right there. We ended about 651, which is right at the pivot right here, 651. Look at that. It stopped right on that pivot. If we take this over now to the 24-hour chart so that we can include like what happened overnight, you can see we've run right into the 20-period moving average. We're right at the top of my regression channel, and I don't know if you can make this out or not clearly, but I drew in a bullish falling wedge, and I told you yesterday that I thought that if we broke out of that, then here was the move on that. Here's your A, B, and then you have a C move that comes out of that. Eventually, which comes out of that. But actually, we're already at pretty much at my measured move of what I expected it to go to. So 658, 18, and these numbers are not like down to the penny, so I wouldn't take them down to that penny. But what you're seeing here is this. Here's my interpretation. You're seeing a continuation play that continued throughout the day. You're seeing an incredibly strong move off of the bottom here right into the resistance. And actually, if you want to see a breakout, that is not what you want to see. Really, what you want to see is that it actually comes into here and then it actually sets up for a while and then breaks out. That's how you get your energy to do a breakout. So we got a problem here, and more than likely we're either coming back some, or we're going to do exactly what I just got done showing, and we're going to actually set up some consolidation in this area. Now, you set up consolidation in that area, that's a good thing because we're underneath of that 20-period moving average, and we met that condition. However, it's been my experience that these falling wedges and rising wedges, they actually are continuation patterns to the downside. So once we've met the move, which is right here, then it seems to me like, let's say 60% of the time, 70% of the time, then it's a continuation. The pattern was going down like this. It's a continuation to the downside. So that's my expectation. But these things, once again, price action always dictates. So let's take a look at where we're at in regards to the hourly and the 15-minute, and we'll take a look at the volume ideas of it. Oh, actually, you know what? There was something else I wanted to show you in regards to the daily chart. So let's take a look at that. This is very interesting. I was looking at this yesterday, actually, and I wanted to show it to you yesterday, but I forgot. That's okay. So this is Webull. And one of the things I like about Webull or TradingView, you can do, it's basically used as a TradingView interface. One of the things I like about that is that you can pull this volume profile on a date range that you select. So if I go from the most recent bottom to where we're at right now, you can see that we have a slight bump out on the volume profile right here. It's a little faint to see right now, but bear with me because this is important. Right here, no, that was not right. Right there is where that high volume node begins to come in. And then if we actually extend this out, like let's say if we take it all the way back down to the bottom of here, I want you to notice that volume profile node right here compared to this little one right here. And where are we at? We're right on the bottom of this, testing it. That number is 650. And what's interesting about that number is it seems like no matter where I put this volume profile on date ranges, go to this low, that same high volume node is sticking out. So we're running into some serious resistance here, guys, is what I'm trying to tell you. You know, don't be bipolar like the stock market is, okay? The stock market is like everything's terrible one day, and then the next day you get a rip like we had yesterday, and then all of a sudden the bottom is in, okay? But we need to actually be trading with a little bit more clarity and a little more understanding. So my thought process is that we might see a little bit of upside today, or maybe somewhat of a consolidation, and then we're either going to stay in a consolidation pattern for a few days or a pullback. I think that a lot of these people who are just recent buyers, I'm not sure that they want to hold through a long holiday weekend while we're at war. So I'm thinking that maybe today's somewhat of a consolidation day, but then again, it actually could be a pullback day. And part of the reason why it could be a pullback day is because the aftermarket has seemingly gotten a little bit ahead of itself. You can see where we're at. We continue to rip up. We're ripping right into the zones. If we go and we take a look at the 15-minute chart, I think it gives us a little more clarity. All right, so here's your, let's see here. Yeah, here's your 15-minute chart, and let's go ahead and let's put in the, I don't have it set for that, so that's okay. Control S. All right, so what I want to do is I want to actually add this. One more time, hold on. Bear with me. Equities. We want to highlight. Oh, it's because it's futures, that's why. No, it's not futures. Okay. Anyhow, here's where our balance range is going in from the close yesterday, okay? So let's take a look at that like we did yesterday. So here's your close right here from yesterday, and here's the high. So from yesterday's session, we pretty much are looking at the exact same situation that we had yesterday. Here's your middle of the range right here, right? All of these traders basically from about 12 o'clock on are all long. So the problem with that is once the market opens, if the market actually even starts to come down a little bit, your weak hands jump out. Okay, and then the people, and then also the people who are long, who really are just kind of scalping or just kind of doing a short-term swing trade, they're going to go ahead and cash out at the top too. So it's a good chance that you might see a little bit of a pop up, you know, and then you're probably going to come down into this zone or this zone right here, and then, you know, I think it's going to really be dependent on possibly some data. Because, you know, today is a very important day when it comes to data. So let's take a quick look at that, because I do think that that's relevant to our conversation today. You guys need to know about this, and I'm not sure whether non-farm payrolls having a good number or a bad number is better or worse. If it has a good number, then it alleviates some of the recession fears. But if it has a bad number, then maybe the Fed decides that they can step in. But then on top of that, you also got some PMI data coming out as well, right here. Very important data. And then on top of that, you have the ISM manufacturing here at 10 o'clock. So in 3 minutes, we got the non-farm payrolls. They're going to come out, and it's going to completely change our map, possibly. We'll have to see what happens with that. Then 9:45 to 10 o'clock, we're going to get all of this, basically this inflation data. And then 9 o'clock tonight, you're going to get the pump, the Trump pump is what I'm calling that nowadays, because the way he's able to pump the market and how he loves to do that. So there's your economic data. So I don't go over the economic data in regards like, well, this number means this and that number means that. Only thing I'm concerned about is it an important number? And if it's an important number, what time does it come out? And after that, I'm going by price action. I've had too many times in the past where I've tried to interpret the numbers and the market's interpreted it in the exact opposite way, and it has not benefited me one bit. So that's why I do it like that. All right, so your pivot numbers. Let me actually increase the font on my application a little bit so you can see the pivot numbers before I even mention them. But your pivot numbers on the SPY. My target is 658. You're also looking at right here around. Yeah, 657.50 is where you get to the top of that regression channel. And then the lower pivot that we've just put in really in the pre-market high, the over the night high is basically 655.50. And then you have 652, we'll just say 652.50. I don't like numbers that are like that. Let's go ahead and round them off to, let me see here. We're going to round them off to 25 cents because to the penny doesn't really matter, okay? 652.75, 651.50. So there's your pivot numbers right there for you. I'm watching for this. I'm watching for either this and then this or this. So I'm going to be watching basically this this pre-market high right here is the number to watch. Mark that pre-market high. We get like a few minutes from it. Mark that pre-market high. If we're continuing in this uptrend like this, mark yourself out a trend line. If it breaks that trend line, you could get yourself a quick scalp low. You got to be fast on the gun. There's a lot of people who missed this move. This incredible move like through here, and they're looking to get in, right here. So if the market pulls back, into an area, like in this area right here, it wouldn't surprise me that we started to get a little bit of a bounce because, the market ripped yesterday, and so some people are feeling left behind. But I still see this as basically, we're in a down channel. I want you to take a look at this, and let's go to the, let's go over here. I told you there's two charts to pay attention to, and this is one of the charts I want you to look at. So we'll look at the monthly because the month did end yesterday. And if you look at this monthly, what you're seeing that it's came in and it's basically looking like it's tried to test that 20-period moving average on the monthly, got ourselves a nice long wick off the bottom, and it's coming up here through the top. It's a very nice candle, but it doesn't, just because you have a long wick doesn't mean that you're not going to go down lower for months. If you look at other months where we had long wicks, like right here, okay, and right here, we continue to go down. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go up from here. We've only got one monthly candle down. We've had quite a run here coming from this point here to here. and in fact, you're actually still, you're looking at like that basically as kind of like a somewhat of a trend line to it. So that's your monthly, but I think there's really even better information when you take a look at the weekly. And the weekly is basically showing exactly what I'm talking about. You have really a huge resistance zone right here. And we're above it right now. We're above it. But that actually could end up being what I call a look below and fail. Look at this. All of these candles right here tested that and proved it was support. This candle proved it was support. Even here, it couldn't break completely down. It did a look under, and then it popped back up before we lost it. And now, where are we at right now? As of the close yesterday, we closed right on it. So this is huge. Now, if we can get up above it and stay above it today, you're doing something, okay? But if you just get barely above it, if we're just this for today, it doesn't mean anything, okay? Just like we were right here, okay? Here, we had that little bump down, and maybe the next day bump down, and everybody's like, oh my God, we're going short, everything's gonna go short. And what ended up happening? It ripped along. And those don't look like big moves, but we're on a weekly chart, so remember that, okay? Now, what I'm saying is this, mark that number, mark that 650, 651 number, and for the longer term, we lose that number, we're going down. So that's what I wanted to actually show you. So that's chart number one. And then chart number two is oil, which we can get into later, and I'm sure some people have actually already expressed that they'd like to have that looked at. Let me take a look at your requests for stocks to look at this morning. Netflix. Boy, Netflix is getting a lot of attention. Okay. Yeah, I put on a long on Netflix, a scalp day before yesterday, and I took it off because when I make a whole bunch of money overnight, I'll take it off, and then I'll put it back on if it wants to continue to keep on going. So Netflix is putting in a very nice bull flag on this 24-hour chart. You can see right here, and it's even, at this time, it's even actually pulling out of that bull flag. We're running into, some resistance right now in that. I'm somebody, I like to sell puts. So I ended up, what I did actually was I sold puts on Netflix yesterday, or no, day before yesterday. And when I got that huge move, I took the money off the table. So right now you had a huge move today. Let me explain how the market moves, okay? You guys probably already know this, but maybe you've never really thought about it. The market spends 30% of the time, maybe 40% of the time, no, about 30% of the time, or 35% of the time making an impulse move. And then after that, it's just chop and digestion, okay? So let's take a look at what you got with Netflix right now. You got the impulse move right here. How many candles is that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. And then you have your digestion. And how many candles is that? I'm not going to count them, but I'm just going to say it's 20 candles. So you got 4 to 20, right? So you got basically 25% of your time you're actually spending in digestion. The other part of the time you actually get an impulse move. And that's really where we're trying to get in. We're trying to actually figure out, like, where can we get in on the impulse move? Anybody who had actually, maybe marked out, say, for example, this trend line right here and bought that breakout right there was very happy. But right now, and we got a snapback right there at the top, and it's actually testing that snapback as we speak right here. If it gets over top of that snapback and holds the snapback, that has longer term implications that it's actually going to run higher. And then also you're seeing this like yellow line here, and I'd like to show you what that means, because that yellow line is actually significant. It's a weekly trend line, I believe, is what we're looking at there. If we go over to the weekly chart on Netflix, you can see that I drew it up here from the bottom. It's coming in to test the top of that trend line. That trend line was resistance in the past a couple of times, but then you had this incredible impulse move where it came out of it. And so right now, you know, it looks like it could possibly run up to 100 before it actually maybe starts to see some more resistance. I like Netflix. I think that it's a good company. I think it's definitely been punished too much. And personally, on a long-term basis, I think that it's actually a great buy. On your 15-minute chart, here's your numbers. You got 96 is a pivot, it's a buy area. You probably have a reaction there. You also got a pivot low right at 96. I'm sorry, 96.25, and then a pivot low at 96. So if this follows the market and actually pulls back some in the beginning of the market, that could be a buy area for Netflix. Now, Netflix has been different than the rest of the other stocks. What I've noticed about Netflix is while the other stocks have been actually weak, Netflix has actually remained either neutral or strong lately because it's really just been sold down so hard. And that's the reason why I felt good about pulling the trigger a couple of days ago while we were in, you know, a bearish mood and everybody felt like the world was coming to an end. I felt confident about pulling the trigger on Netflix because honestly, they hadn't really been doing such a bad job even when the market was down. All right, so let's see, that's Netflix. We want to take a look at the semis. That's a great idea. As long as we're looking at the semis, let's go ahead and take a quick view into the dashboards over here. I'm going to pull up, actually before I do that, I'm going to show you guys something. This is something I created for you. I run 5 monitors here over on my, off of my computer when I'm at, when I'm in central, command central is what I call this place. And I wanted to show you my setup so that, like, if you decided that you thought about different ways that you could set your things up, you could actually think about it. So there's my 5 monitors. This is how I actually run my trading. And if you look at it, I got, you know, 20 different charts that I'm watching throughout the day. These are set on hourly or 15-minute time frames looking for breakouts. And then I got my dashboards with the futures, and this is the interest rates, and then this is the ETFs, and then this is the extended. And then here's my primary trading ones. And all these colors that are in here, these were created by me. Thinkorswim doesn't have these naturally. I wrote those as indicators. I come from a technology background, so that's one of the reasons why I love this kind of stuff. This is my main trading window. So this is one monitor right here. This is another monitor. Actually, let me draw those in for you. And I don't know if you will find this helpful or not, but I don't know. There's one monitor. Here's a second monitor. Here's my third monitor. Here's a fourth monitor I use for things like Outlook and to-do lists and whatever. And here's my fifth monitor, which is my laptop and my chatting window and stuff like that. And here's where I have like, let's go back over here. So this is where I trade, and this will be like one stock, and I'm showing all the different time frames along with a matrix. And then here's your pre-market gap up, gap down, and your volume leaders. So there's an idea for you about different ways that you could actually set up your system. Maybe I'll post that in our Discord so that you guys can see it. But let me go ahead and take that off, and we'll get back to the business here. I just thought you might find that interesting. I always find it's interesting to see how other people set up their systems. And once again, I'm a technology trader. I met with Thinkorswim a couple of times. They told me I'm in the top 1%. They said they have never seen some of the stuff that I've done with Thinkorswim. So, and I am an expert in Thinkorswim. And I don't mean to tip my own hat, but you know, I'm not going to have false humility over it. Anyhow, let's go. We're going into the semis. No, we're not going to the semis. What I want to do is I actually want to do this. I want to look at the list, at the dashboards. All right, what's up and what's down right now? Gold is up. Bitcoin's up. Both of those are up significantly on the week. They're both running, gold is running into some resistance right now, so I'd be careful with gold. NQ, RTY, and ES, they're all up. Crude is down somewhat. But let's take a look at the crude oil chart, because that is, once again, the second chart that I was actually mentioning in my thing that I was saying that's actually is significant. And actually, it shows right here in the 4-hour. I think the 4-hour is showing you exactly what I wanted you to see. So yeah, there's been a pullback in crude oil. Has everything calmed down? Is oil going to flow? Has the supply chain been totally fixed and there's no problems? I'm a doubter. We have a snapback low on the 4-hour over here, right around 95.5. Okay, you're also at the very bottom of a regression channel, and that regression channel is held once, twice. It had a spike through right here, so I'm not thinking oil has a huge downside to it. And then on top of that, you have a huge amount of volume right through here. This is a trading range where it's traded, and you even have additional support here. So yeah, could it drop a little bit lower? Yes, it could. To be honest with you, I've already sold puts on oil because I think this pullback is not the final pullback. I think we'll end up seeing higher numbers. Will probably come back, and in my mind, I think we'll get back up to around 125 or 150. This is crude oil. I bought it in USO. So there's your dashboard for the futures. We'll go to the high yield bonds. Basically everything's flat on the interest rates and the bonds and the dollar as well. And the VIX is actually given back something, so we're not in extreme fear anymore. Okay, the ETF markets, RK is up. RK is for the week, it's actually up almost 5%. Symbolizing that risk on high-risk assets are in favor right now. No, it doesn't surprise me. 2 days ago, you didn't want that, and everybody was like staying away from it. Now, all of a sudden, the world has completely changed because, as I said, the market is bipolar, and now all of a sudden, the hair was on fire on Monday. On Tuesday, life is great, and everything's roses and cotton candy. And here we are with the semis. The semis are up 2.5% for the week. This is midweek. It's up 1.9% going into the open. Guys, I don't like that. I'm telling you why. The pre-market traders constantly get burned by the regular day traders when you're seeing these types of moves. So for me, I would have preferred that it actually stayed flat. Since we're in that upper area of the balance range, the more likely move is actually from the get-go, from the outset now. We're not talking about for the entire day, but from the outset, the more likely move, wouldn't surprise me to see like a slight push up and then down on this. So that's kind of my anticipation. Aha, maybe they're getting ahead of it. You see that? We just put in, somebody just went ahead and sold right here. We're at a pivot high. We're looking at a snapback that was created right here at the 389 mark. 389.80, so basically 390. So you got a snapback created there. You got a snapback low here. Here's your range. And then on top of that, we're also looking at 396 and 383 as your pivots. So that's the SMH. For me, right now, the SMH is in a no buy, no touch zone in this area right here. I don't see that we're going to have a lot more upside right now. My concern is, and honestly, I think you need to wait until 10 o'clock before you try to get long on something if you're thinking about holding. Let's see what happens with those PMI numbers. So 388.75. What do we got now? We got Apple. All right, so Apple, look at what we got. We got the weekly chart up here, but it's run right up into the regression channel. I'll bet you that it's actually passed over the regression channel now. Let's turn this to a 24-hour chart. Yeah, it's sticking its head up above that regression channel, as you can see right here, right? It's running right into a pivot area right here, and that pivot area is 255.70. So that is where there's going to be some challenge. You've had your impulse move right here. Now, do you have a second impulse move? Not likely. Likely is that you're going to see some type of consolidation here. If it's wanting to do a higher move, what you'd want to see if you're a bull, you want to see some consolidation and then a higher move. You can see that I actually had I actually pulled a ABC move off of this from the top here to the bottom here to here, and then it implied that it was going to fall to either here or here. And where it ended up falling was actually in between those numbers. So it's possible that this move, actually this ABC move, is actually not done with. It's possible we could come down here to 237. Let's see if it can capture this regression channel. Let's see if it can stay above this 61.8. You can see also that what's interesting is that that 61.8 did actually, I don't know how these algos figure this out, but it did actually show support here and here. And we got spike throughs here. So you're basically looking at a zone right there as I look at it. You know, you're looking at this zone right here. So what's that zone? I'll give you those numbers right now. We already talked about the top of that zone, which is about 256, and then the bottom of the zone is about 253. So now that's a compression zone for you. Is it going to come out of that? A lot of times your first break coming out of something like this, you have a lot of overhead resistance putting pressure on the downside. Wouldn't surprise me to see it come back a little bit even before it wants to move higher. So I would not be long this stock in the near term. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. And on the 15-minute, it's the same story as everything else. You're in the upper balance range. You had a look above on this one. If you look at this, this is not what you want to see, a look above and then fail. This implies that you're going to fall at least to the center of the balance range, if not go all the way down to the bottom. Since we went from the top to the bottom here, my usual situation that I see is that it'll come down to the middle, maybe then come back to the top, then go down to the bottom. That's the way, a lot of times that middle ends up being a support area. Your numbers are 255.50, 254, 254.50. That's your range right there. You really want to get outside of that range if you want to trade this thing cleanly, okay? You want to be outside of this range right here. My preference for trading is trading outside of this range or outside of this range. If the market's really looking super bullish, I will take a fly on something busting out without a test. But if it's not, a test is actually, that's the best way to go. When I was talking to you about how the market actually is, you know, it moves in it either spends most of its time in a consolidation phase. For example, we spent all of this time consolidating right here. Our impulse move was really only this time right here. That's the only part where it was an impulse move. Look how much time you spend in consolidation. All of this is consolidation. This is actually consolidation. We had one impulse move right here. So we had a huge impulse move yesterday. What does that imply, guys? It implies that we're probably going to see consolidation today, okay? And when you come into a trading day and you know that you're going to probably see consolidation, that means breakouts are suspect. So your best play, if you're wanting to day trade today, your best play more than likely is actually trading off the bottom and then trading off the top, because unless something happens to change the market, it's probably in a consolidation phase today. And then tomorrow, I'm not 100% sure we're actually going to continue up forward, because once again, tomorrow is the day before a very long holiday. All right, we're going to take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA broke out of the long-term regression channel from the 24-hour chart, okay? On the daily, I'm not so sure. It probably ran right up to the top of it. Yep, look at that. These algos know. It ran right to the top of that chart and it stopped. Overnight, it's getting a little ahead of itself. NVIDIA is also, I'm going to bet 100%, put a lot of money on it. It's at the top of a consolidation range. It's doing some of it, it's doing some digesting right now to see if it wants to do a breakout. Mark this high right here. If it breaks the high and comes back and retests, you can go long on NVIDIA. But seeing that it went pretty strong yesterday, I'm a little concerned about it going long. I would probably see it, enthusiasm takes it up higher and then brings it down lower, and then you find some support, and then you probably ended up going higher if it's a long today. For me, I think you're going to see chop today. That's where I'm actually leaning towards. All right, that's NVIDIA. We got Oracle. Well, I haven't talked about Oracle in a while. I'm a technology guy, and Oracle used to be the, look at this terrible candle here. I'm going to get rid of it. I'll show you how to do this. In case you use Thinkorswim, you can just remove the bar right here. A lot of times I'll actually just look at what the numbers are and then put it in there, but I don't even think I want it, so we'll remove that bar. That's just a false candle. I'm going to remove it here too, because it's putting in, let's see here. Can I get it? All right, we'll do it later. Anyhow, Oracle's just been knocked down to death. As a technology person, I'm not really a fan of the Oracle interface. Microsoft SQL Server is really the way I go. It's got a slightward uptrend from the low. Okay, the low is 132.50. If you wanna invest in this, that's the number. If it goes down below 132.50, watch out. Get the heck out of it. You could take this as a leap if you wanted. You could even sell a put against this if you wanted. But not even 100% sure that it's actually completely done. It might want to come back down here and retest this low at 118. This is a long-term aspect of it. It's way oversold. You could see, let's see here. Yeah. It does have a slight uptrend. If you look at the regression channel right here, it recaptured the second deviation of the regression channel. It looks like it went down even to the third deviation of the regression channel. Your near-term low is 137.25. It looks like it's pulling into the top of that. And then also, let's see what we got here. Yeah, look at that. It broke down that trend line right there too. It's coming into some resistance right here. You have some resistance here and here. I think you're just going to see consolidation on this. Not sure it has a lot to move right now. If you look at it on the 15-minute, it broke over the consolidation area. It's coming back and retesting. So actually on a scalp, this is what you do want to see. If it holds this number right here, look at this number, guys, it's 150.34. If it holds this number on this candle, okay, if it shows a green candle, if it shows a hammer candle, if it shows a full green candle, you could get in on that, and then you could actually go ahead and actually put a stop loss underneath of this, that it has a continuation further higher. I would go down to a 5-minute, 2-minute, or 1-minute chart on this. Let's take a look at this from a day trading class, okay? It needs to come up and hold over top of that, over top of this number right here, 150.91, 92. Let's call it 151, okay? It's coming down right here into the 20-period moving average. It has a long, and actually, this isn't even a bad spot to take a look at. It spikes down through this 20 period, recaptures the 20. You got this area of support right here at 149.96. You could actually enter early here. You could begin to size in a position here if you're a believer in this stock going up. Guys, I think that's about it for the day. Just want to take, let's do this before we close out. Let's go ahead and take a look at, you know, Bitcoin is coming up into this 70,000 mark. That looks like an area of resistance. That's on the daily chart. Let's try to change it to a 24-hour. This is just an overview of all of the markets. So Bitcoin Yeah, Bitcoin's underneath that $70,000 mark. So if Bitcoin can get up above that $70,000 mark, we might end up pulling all the way up to 76. Crude, you know, crude can come all the way down here to 85, down to 76. It's still bullish. You can see from these charts here that these are in downward trends. And let's go to the 4-hour because apparently my RTY doesn't want to come in very cleanly. And the Russell, you know, it has opportunity to move up here to 25. Guys, have a great day. Watch out. Don't get caught up in this bull market stuff. I'm telling you right now, the end of this thing I don't think is over. But at the same time, if we can get a couple continuation patterns to the top side, okay, we'll flip the script and we'll jump on the bull, okay? It's hard to kill a bull, but right now the bears are in control. And bull markets constantly have these rip-ups. We expected it yesterday. We're expecting consolidation today. Do not trust breakouts. You need to make sure you confirm that breakout. You need to make sure you're watching that stop loss because I think you're going to see head fakes and chop. Talk to you later.